Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining. Thanks for coming back. We have a great roundup of Viz of the Day submissions to go over this week. We've got word clouds, highlight tables, radial bar charts, Gantt charts from all over the world. We've got a Viz from Poland, from India. We're going global this week. Topics galore. We've got Makeover Monday, film festivals, NASCAR, and a Viz of the Day about Viz of the Days. So meta. Let's go.
All right, so this first Viz that we're going to take a look at is by Jeremy Johnson, and it is a Viz of the Days. So meta. So right off the bat, what we can see here is we've got a word cloud, and what's really interesting about this word cloud is that Jeremy has scraped the titles of each Viz of the Day from 2020 and kind of looked at the words in the titles and grouped them together. And so the words that you see here on the dashboard are the words that show up at least twice together. So, which is really really cool. So there's some interesting things in here. I think the word cloud works really well for this because it is very exploratory type of chart. Usually in a business case, in a business world, we would not recommend using word clouds. But here, I think it works because really kind of it's meant for discovery, right? Kind of what I've talked about in previous videos is weighing the options between discovery and precision. And so obviously we're not really interested in precision with this Viz, with this chart type here. What we're really interested in is just kind of on the surface, what are some interesting insights that we can get out of this. So what I will say upon my first kind of looking at this is thinking about how he got this into a circle shape. I know that there's and perhaps it's a scatter plot. Perhaps he scatter plotted it as opposed to a true word cloud, which you can do in Tableau. I've got a link down in the bio or in the I've got a link down in the description that kind of goes into how you can make a word cloud in Tableau. But I think what he did here is possibly he used a scatter plot, a custom. Perhaps I'm not sure. I haven't dug into this, but it's something that I might dig into because generally in the one in Tableau you don't really have that much control over where or how the word cloud gets shaped. So that was something that was first caught my eye. So what's really cool here is as you hover on each of the words, each of the topics, you get a nice little Viz and tooltip that shows you the name of the Viz, the author of the Viz, and when it was a Viz of the Day for that topic. So if we hover on New York, you can see the 4 Vizes that were related to New York, who authored those, and when they were Viz of the Days, which is really cool. So you can really spend a lot of time here, kind of diving into each of these and kind of looking at some of the interesting things. Like U.S. is a big one. 19 Vizes that had the word U.S. In the title. Obviously, a big one in 2020, COVID-19. That was everywhere. 13 Viz of the Days were directly related to COVID-19, which is really interesting. So this is really cool. I really like it. As we scroll down here, there's more, which is nice. We've got a yearly volume, so we're comparing the trend over time, the number of Vizes per month compared to 2019. Now, let's talk about this. The first thing that your brain might tell you is, oh wow, there were no Viz of the Days in June and November upon first looking at this. But really quickly, we can scan our eyes over and we can see that he's just truncated his axis, which is up for debate, right? I'm certainly not one to say never truncate your axis. I've actually got some excellent resources down in the description below that really talk about truncating the axis for line charts specifically. And basically, what they said is if you do want to truncate your axis, the lowest dip needs to be basically within the top third of the chart, right? So, which is really interesting. So, if you want to truncate your axis on a line chart, that's okay, but just still leave a little bit of room so that it doesn't look like it goes all the way down to zero. But other really good things about this, I like that he has the number, so 234, 234 vises of the days in 2020 by 157 unique authors, which means we had some duplicates, which is to be expected, right? And then down here, finally, which is really nice, is a heat map of every single one of those authors, colored and sized by the count of Viz of the Days. And it looks, I'm not sure if there's order, perhaps. I'm not sure exactly what the order is. At first I thought maybe maybe alphabetical, perhaps. But then I see that Chris DiMartini is up at the top, which doesn't really jive with that. But so maybe taking a look at that, or maybe it was just a mistake in the data. Maybe there's an extra space in front of Chris. Maybe that's why it jumped to the top. But because it looks like the rest are pretty well alphabetized. So, and then obviously again, Viz and tooltips. When you hover over, you can see you can see that which ones they were. You can get the title and the description of those. So really cool stuff. And then lastly, it just says just a shout out to the community. Thanks for all the great work in 2020, and see you in 2021. This is a great meta Viz of the day. So very cool stuff. All right, so this next Viz is sports related, and it's by Cassie Beck. And it talks about the reign of Jimmie Johnson in NASCAR racing. So he was incredibly dominant back in the mid 2000s and even into the early 2010s. Totally dominant over the sport. What we can see here is we got a radial bar chart, which has been rounded, which is really nice. So kind of a nice starburst. I think this really works well. What I really like about it is it's kind of in your face, kind of like, pow, he's this good. Pow, this is how many wins he has. Pow, top fives, right? So really cool. I like it. I will, and as we kind of hover over, you can see as we hover over the each of the bars, we can see the number of wins for each. So you can see, and we can also see, this was interesting because the circle doesn't start at 12 o'clock. It actually starts at 3 o'clock. So his first year, 2001, is at 3 o'clock and then goes around. Or no, it goes backwards. Yeah, so it goes counterclockwise starting at 3 o'clock. So so again, if you were wanting people to kind of, I think the natural instinct is to start at 12 and go clockwise, but Cassie chose to go in a different direction, which is totally fine. But it just kind of takes your users a little bit of time to orient themselves exactly how to look at this. And as you can see, 2001, he didn't really do much, which is interesting. That's a story in itself, right? I also like the icon, the trophy icons up at the top. I think another interesting part of this data would be the total number of races each year. So, did he, what was the denominator? Did he get more top 10 finishes in years that he didn't race as many times, or did he race in every single race? But still good stuff. It's a great chart. I love the colors. Really nice and bright. They really pop off the screen with the black and white look to it, which is really great. So, and then you've got matching colors in the tooltips, which is a nice little added touch there of personality. So, really great job, Cassie. Nicely done. So this next chart, this next viz of the day, is by Krzysztof Bieniek from Poland, and it is a Gantt chart looking at how Krzysztof viewed movies from film festivals that were put online, streaming online due to COVID, right? So, so two film festivals that every single movie within the film festival were added to a streaming service, and Krzysztof went through and charted the movies that he watched from each and when he did it, and then visualized that in this Gantt chart, which I think is a really interesting way to show this kind of data. It's a really cool way to show calendar data like this. So what I really like about this is, so going down the y-axis, he has each day. So the looks like November 5th, November 6th on down through November 17th. So each row is a day, and then each column is the hour of that day. So this is a really interesting way to show, to do an hour by day calendar like this. So if you're in project management, or if you're doing some kind of, maybe even some quantified self data about workouts, or whatever, this is a really applicable chart type that you can build to show, look for similarities and trends in a calendar view that's not your traditional calendar. So I think this is a really intuitive chart type for this kind of data. But what you can see here is, what's really cool is he's got, if we just look at this one, he's got, so he started this at 8:30 a.m. And it looked like it went for about 2 hours. And he does say in here that the ratings down at the bottom of the tooltip are his own ratings. They're not they're not by an official source or anything like that. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at this. But a cool thing that he also does when you click on one is you get down at the bottom there, you get the IMDb page for that movie. So if you want to do some additional exploration, you could click on that IMDb link, and it would take you to the page for that movie. So you could maybe see who's in there, see the cast, the director, other movies that they've directed or starred in, and get some other ratings. See if anybody else rated that movie and what they rated it at. So the colors are really nice. I really think this is a really pleasing. This is a really pleasing viz to look at. I really like the really light earth tone in the background, and then the kind of pastel colors for the movies. And he's done this really cool thing where you can tell he's used this these really thin bolder borders to kind of anchor each movie and at the starting point, right? So really quickly you can see, again, thinking about ease of the ease of use for the user. That line, that darker line, is going to be the start. It's going to be the starting point. and then he's filled it in with the same color, but then he's just reduced the opacity of that. Another really cool thing that I like about it is the way that he's chose to do the labels. He's bold for the name of the movie, and then regular typeface for the director. So, which is, I think, a really nice, pleasing way to look at that. So, yeah, this is really nice. I really like and as you can see, this is I think it's just really nice, and he's got a custom. So this is obviously not a web font. I'm pretty sure this is a custom font that he created in PowerPoint or some other application, and then imported it as a picture, which is a really cool way to get some additional, get some additional personal touches on your visit, is to kind of import custom type fonts as pictures in your data. So, which is cool. So great job, Krzysztof. Really appreciate you putting this together, and I've definitely got some movies to go check out and put on my watch list. So good job. Okay, so this last one is a selection from this last week's Makeover Monday. I think this is really good. So this is by Vani Agarwal, and I think it's a really nice highlight table. And basically, the data is taken from NASA, the NASA Goddard Institute, and it's looking at temperature differences, temperature anomalies for each month and year, going all the way back to January of 1880, and comparing that month's average temperature to the overall average temperature between I think it's like there's like a 60-year average by month, and then you're kind of looking at the difference between. So the monthly temp difference of June of 1883 was 0.07 degrees colder than the 30-year average for June. And so, as you can see really quickly, you're able to see that things are getting hotter, right? Or things are getting hotter than the 30-year average, and by month. So you can see things are really heating up. So the highlight table here works really well because you're able to kind of zoom out on the data and really kind of to get a holistic view of what everything's looking like. And really quickly you can start to see trends and patterns, right? So looks like in the 1940s during so right around 40 to 45, looks like it was much hotter then, and what was going on. And you can kind of think about, okay, what was going on in the world during that time? Well, there was a major world war happening. So, that's just not saying it's correlation, not saying it's causation, but it's just kind of an interesting thing that you can kind of point out quickly and see. Another thing you can see is that the oranger months start earlier and are more dense in the northern hemisphere than they are in the southern hemisphere, which is kind of interesting as well. Even though the darker oranges are in the southern hemisphere, so that's interesting as well. So the highlight table works great for that. Again, we're not looking for we're not really looking for precision, even though it's there, even though you can get to it. What we're really kind of show here is kind of a long-term trend, and this works really well when you've got so many years and so many. I mean, the level of detail is 1 month per year for almost 120 years. So, yeah, this is a great chart, and I love the title. She's using, again, talked about it last week, using color to help tell the story, right? So orange, hot, got it. That's what that means. Northern Hemisphere in the same orange. Okay, so the Northern Hemisphere is orange. And then right down here, she goes there again. And then she has a little call out what the problem is, right? So it's a really great job by Vani, and a well-deserved pick for Viz of the Day from Makeover Monday. So really good stuff. The Makeover Monday crew, also Eva and Andy, also do a wrap up every week of their favorite submissions. So definitely encourage you to check that out. I'll link to it right up there. I'll link to their Viz review that happened on Wednesday of the previous week, going over some of these time lapse time series dashboards.
All right. So there you have it. 4 Vizes of the day. And from this past week, I've had a wonderful time going over these. I hoped you learned something. If you did, drop a comment below in the comments and let me know what you think of this series. Do you like it? Do you want to see more of it? Please drop a like, and feel free to go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Click that bell icon so you don't miss a thing. And I will see you all next time. Go forth and Viz. Hey everyone, thanks again for joining in. Please go ahead and click my head and subscribe to this channel. If you like this one and haven't checked out the previous one, go ahead and do that now. Let's check out some of my Workout Wednesday tutorials as well. Thanks for coming.